Hi, welcome and thanks for using Caboose Fresh. So my name's Mark and we've got our head chef Dan here. So basically what we're going to do is you'll have received your bag with all your ingredients in. Inside the bag you have a recipe and a sort of set of instructions to follow. And on top of that, Dan is going to talk me through how to cook this dish. So I'm the novice here. I've never cooked this dish before in my life. So Dan's going to sort of supplement what's on the instructions and just talk me through step by step, giving me hints and tips along the way. Dan, just before we get going then, do you want to just tell us a little bit about this dish, please?
Yeah, of course. It's a ramen. Basically, it's a Japanese dish, which is like it's like a noodle soup. Basically, it's just made with a nice stock with like Japanese flavors in, and then you eat it with the noodles in there and whatever veg you want. We've got tomatoes, spring onions in here as well, but it's classically done with a soft-boiled egg, which is going to be the tricky part. But yeah, we'll crack on.
Right, no problem. So before on the instructions, it gives us a little bit of preparation what to do, which in this case is just basically get the 2 pans of boiling water on the go and chop some spring onions. So I've done that and I've got the 2 pans on. So Dan, if you just go step by step and tell me exactly what to do there.
Right, okay. Well, the first jobs on there will be to cook the noodles and soft-boil the eggs. And the reason to do that is just so you can get it out of the way because you've got some chicken to roast and all sorts of stuff later on. So the noodles go straight in the pan of salted boiling water, and then you drop the eggs in as well in a separate pan. And the eggs will be cooked for 5 minutes and then cooled under cold water, just like the noodles.
So what's the tip with putting eggs in a pan? Because every time I do this, I always manage to crack the egg. Is it sitting on?
Just drop it in slowly with a spoon. Yeah, just drop it in slowly with a spoon down the side.
And how long do these go in for?
I would go for, it's the same about 4 to 5 minutes, but if you want to go for 4.5 minutes for good measure, it says 5 minutes on the recipe, and then by the time you cool it down.
Okay, I'll put a 4-minute timer on.
Right.
Right, so in the meantime, is there anything we can do, or is it just a case of waiting on these?
Right, well, while they're on, you can even halve your tomatoes, for example. You can halve the tomatoes and get them on the tray ready, or seasoned, just ready for the oven.
Okay, tomatoes are done.
Right, so then you need them on a tray with a bit of oil. And you might want to give the noodles a little stir as well, just to break them up with a pair of tongs, just give them a little mix.
So it says on the sheet that I've got to have the eggs really boiling, the water boiling a lot. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. As long as they're boiling, you can even simmer them a little bit. As long as the water's moving, because a lot of the time the pan will cool down, and then by the time it gets back up to the boil, they're just poaching, you know. So as long as they're simmering, they're fine.
Oh, they're boiling away there.
Right. Okay. Well, you can even turn it down a little bit if they're boiling too much. But just so the water's boiling. Right. Then the tomatoes, when you want to go on the tray with them.
Yep.
And then they'll be seasoned with some chopped thyme, chopped garlic, rock salt, pepper, and olive oil.
Okay, so chop the thyme, yeah?
Yeah, just chop
So
it.
Just rip the thyme.
You can just pull it if you like, but it's nice to chop it because you make a little bit sprinkle on each tomato, like evenly distributed.
Sprinkle it on.
Yeah, you need the flat side facing up, and you've got to have it on the tray ready to go. And with the garlic, you would want to have one thin slice on each tomato.
Just slice it nice and thin.
Yeah, exactly. Thin as you can. It sounds picky getting one slice on each bit of garlic, but on each tomato, sorry, but it's lovely. Like, it really affects the flavour, you know.
Yeah. I might lose a finger in the process, mate.
It's all flavour. Now, I need a nice sprinkle of rock salt on the top of each one, and a nice bit of pepper as well.
There we go.
Right, just like that. Then you need a little bit of oil on there.
Here's the head chef here now.
She's hiding.
Okay, Dan, that's my 5-minute timer.
Right, okay, now cool the eggs straight down in the cold water. Same with the noodles.
Stick them straight under the top, yeah?
Yeah. Just tip the hot water out while you're at the sink and then run the cold water on top of them.
And then drain the noodles.
Yes, aye. If you drain them, then put them back into that pan and get the cold water on top of them.
Cold water on top of the noodles.
Yeah, just to cool them down, because they'll heat up in the ramen later on, you'll see.
Are you going to help? Yeah? All right then.
No.
Okay. Right, so...
Right, so now we can go for the tomatoes in the oven. Then you want to get ready to go with the chicken next.
How long for the tomatoes? About 8 minutes, does it say?
8 minutes will do, aye. Everything that you're doing now will heat up anyway in the ramen stock.
Yeah.
So you've got that stock ready somewhere.
Yeah. Not hot.
Right, so once the eggs have cooled down, you'll need to put the ramen stock in the pan and we'll start to get that hot soon. It doesn't matter, you can do it last minute, but if it's already hot, then that's
So it
fine.
says in here I've got to crack the eggs and then put them back in cold water.
Yeah, so just crack the shell all the way around just to loosen it, because they're a nightmare to peel. So if you loosen the shell all the way around, then put it back in the cold water, let some of the water seep under the shell, then it's easier to peel if you leave it for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Right, eggs done. Right, what's next?
Right, so if you want to get your chicken ready on the chopping board,
Yeah.
now that needs to be butterflied, and there's an explanation on the SOP there, but I'll talk you through it anyway. If you have the thick end of the chicken facing you,
Yeah.
so the chunky end should be facing you, then the thin end pointing away from you.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. And then you need to go through it on the side. So put your hand on top of it flat and then slice into it, and it's called butterfly, and you get halfway through and then open it up.
Like that?
Yeah, just like that. And then you need to flatten that down a bit. You can flatten it with a rolling pin or the bottom of a pan just to bang it a little bit to make it nice and flat.
I've got Holly's rolling.
Yeah, that's on. That suits you. I would even just tap it, just bang it, so then it'll flatten out a little bit. And then you want to slice that nice and thin. The thinner you can slice it, the crispier it'll go.
You say slice it thin, just like lengthways.
Yeah, if you cut it down the middle, then just slice it up. Just so it's nice thin strips. You'll get enough slices out of that to serve 2 people, because it's so thin. Right, now, you need to get a frying pan on there nice and hot.
Go.
Right, now, when that's hot, you want a bit of oil in there and some salt on that chicken.
What kind of oil, Dan? Any oil?
Veg oil's best.
Just a clog, yeah, just a...
Yeah, just like a couple of tablespoons worth.
Salt.
Right, now you can get... Once the pan's getting hot, when you've seasoned the chicken, you can start getting the ramen stock hot, which you can just put in that pan which you've had the eggs in or whatever.
Okay. Quite thick this, it seems to have thickened up.
Yeah, it'll have thickened up, yeah. It's because it's a stock, it'll set when it's cold, but it'll melt down. All you need to do is get it warm. You don't want to boil it and then reduce it to make it any thicker. So just let it get hot.
Just get a gentle heat under that, yeah?
Sorry?
Just put a nice gentle heat under the...
Yeah, exactly, aye. And then you can start frying the chicken.
Right, so that pan's really hot now.
Yeah, when the chicken's seasoned, just chuck that in, start frying it. But don't stir it too much. You want to let the pan get hot again straight away. So as soon as it's in there, just let it fry. Give it a minute or so, then stir it slowly.
Give it a wiggle.
Sorry?
You say give it a what?
Just give it a minute or so before you move it, because you don't want the pan to cool down. You need the pan to get hot again straight away so it goes nice and crispy.
Okay, I'll just move it because someone's on the top.
Yeah. So the tomatoes, when you check them out the oven, after 8 minutes, if they need a little bit longer, then you can give them another few minutes. 8 minutes is a rough guideline. The tomato will be different any time of the year, you know. But just check them. They want to be nice and soft.
Check them now?
No, just after 8 minutes, check them and see if they need a little bit longer. They shouldn't do, but...
Okay. Do you peel the eggs yet, or?
Yeah, you can start peeling the eggs, aye.
I'm just going to move this forward with the raw chicken on.
Yeah. So this is the hard part, really, is peeling those eggs, because they're soft boiled. They're a bit of a nightmare. Then if you start from the top of the egg and peel your way down around it, it's usually easier. Are they coming off nicely?
Yeah, it's not easy though.
How's it peeling? Okay?
Huh?
Is it coming off okay?
Coming off the eggs. Yeah. What about this chicken then?
Yeah, just give the chicken a stir. You can even toss the pan a little bit now. Just like Wagamama.
Huh?
Just like Wagamama.
Give us some armour, this.
Well, the chicken. So you'll be able to fry all the way through in there, then get back to the eggs. But you can turn the heat down a little bit now if you want.
Not going crispy or anything yet.
It's crispy now, is it?
No, not yet.
Right, well, just turn it down and let it slowly fry. Then you can get back to peeling the eggs.
I'm fine. The eggs look really soft.
They will be. They'll be soft boiled. Is that them both done?
Yep.
Oh, you didn't struggle there at all.
Huh?
You didn't struggle there at all. That was fine.
Easy one. Okay.
Right, so just need to keep an eye on that chicken and make sure the ramen stock's getting nice and hot now. And that stock we make ourselves here and we'll send it out to people. It's a job that takes about 12 hours, you know? So that's why we make it ourselves. We can get them to do it at home, but, you know, it takes a big pan which needs to be boiled down for about 12 hours.
Okay. Right, my oven's good.
Right, so check those tomatoes.
What am I checking?
Just to see if they're nice and soft.
I don't really know how soft they should be, but I feel that they should be in a bit longer.
Yeah, yeah. So if they feel like they should be a bit softer, then go for it. You can chuck them in the last minute if you like. It's just personal preference, you know, and every oven's different.
Yeah, no
8 minutes is like a rough guideline, you know.
Do I need to drain the noodles again?
Sorry?
So I drain the cold water off the noodles?
Yeah, yeah. And then you're almost done there anyway, so your chicken should be nearly ready.
It is.
Right, so now if you take the 2 bowls.
The bowls there?
Yeah. And then you just drop the cold noodles in the bottom of them.
So what am I doing with the noodles?
Just take them tongs and lift them in between 2 bowls.
Okay.
Right, that's done. Okay, so the chicken should be nearly ready. And
Yeah,
then
that's
the
ready.
eggs, which you've got there, should be nearly done.
Yeah, it's done.
Right, so, we'll take the chicken out of the pan and place that on the one side of each ramen bowl.
On one side of the bowl?
Yeah, and then you're going to dress around the bowl, like the chicken will go in one place, then the tomatoes, then the eggs, and the spring onions on top.
Good. So place the chicken on one side of the bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you need to cut the eggs in half, but be careful with them because they'll be quite runny. So you need to place them side by side with a bit of salt and pepper on them in the bowl next to the chicken.
Yeah, that's not going to be very easy. Just cut them in half, yeah?
Yeah, lengthways, and then you just sit that on top.
Oh, they're really running.
That's fine, that's good.
Look at that.
Then you want to take the tomatoes out of the oven. Once you've got salt and pepper on them, take the tomatoes out of the oven.
Salt and pepper on the eggs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so when you're putting these in there, you need a place in the bowl where you can pour the ramen stock over the noodles. So you can put the tomatoes on now, just along the side. But you just need to leave room so you can pour the stock without pouring it over your tomatoes or over the eggs.
Okay.
Right, so now you can pour the stock on. And just make sure you don't hit the egg with it.
Coriander left, Dan?
Sorry?
Do you need to do anything with coriander or anything?
Yeah, you'll chop the coriander last minute to finish it. So you need to chop some coriander, and take the spring onions, and finish it over the top with them. That's it, just roughly chopped. That'll do.
Okay. Spring onions.
Yeah, sprinkle that on coriander, spring onions, and then a squeeze of lime juice over the top.
That looks unreal. Lime's quite hard.
That's it.
Get in. Look at that.
Right, spawn. Spawn.
Did I get a pass?
I think so. I can't try it, can I? Get Deliveroo to send it over.
Well, there we go. So, if I can do that, you definitely can do it. Obviously with help. There's no way I could do that on my own. So, being spoken through it is a great help. Really, really works. Some good, healthy, fresh food there that I wouldn't have had before. So, yeah, there we go. Thanks very much, and thanks again, Dan. And thanks for using Caboose Fresh.